Hey, what's going on? It's your girl, CircusOfFun here, and today, welcome to another Blender tutorial. Today I will be demonstrating how to rig SFM or Sketchfab models in Blender. So, let's just get started, shall we? So first, you are going to want to open Blender, of course. And then once you have your handy dandy Blender open, depending on what model you want, if you want one from SFM, you are going to want to make sure that you have Source Filmmaker open as well. And you don't have to do this too, but I personally create one session in Source Filmmaker just so I can load a map in and then make sure that, the model is importing correctly and there's no issues if I were to put it into Blender. Sometimes there will be issues that you have to fix in Blender, but not having a proper rig, which is the meaning of this video, but yeah, pretty self-explanatory. So you are going to want your SFM open too. So I'm just going to right click right here, enable lighting, and then you simply, to make sure that you can see what models you have downloaded, you go over here, right click, and I also cover this, I believe, in my SFM little series, tutorial series. I will have a link to that in the description, but you go right here, right click, create animation set for new model, and over here it will show everything that you have downloaded. So you can see that I have a card right here too, which, if you don't know, is from my new latest song short, with the song Be Around by Bloom. If you want to go check that out, feel free to. One of the cards might pop up here in the upper left or right hand corner. But yeah, it was just like a fun little Valentine's short that I made. So now you are going to want to go to Steam, Source Filmmaker right here, and then go to Workshop. And then you can type in whatever model you want. And we're just going to type in FNAF and see what pops up. Yeah. So many martyrs. Let's use one of the classic models, Let's do Fun Time Foxy. Let's use this one. So we're just going to subscribe to this. Subscribe means download, basically, so then you can just minimize this, press OK. And that was quick, wow. All files downloaded from the Steam Workshop, press OK, then rescan. Rescanning will download it, and then if you type in the name here too, you can see that boom, it's right there. And if you want, you can open it to, make sure that there's no issues before you, put it into Blender. But since we have that download, we're going to minimize Source Filmmaker, go to Blender. And in this case, you are going to want a tool called SourceIO in order to, put in SFM models. I believe I covered that too in my first tutorial of this series. I will have a link to that video in the description, but just in case you want to see it here too, don't worry, I will cover that here too. But basically there's this website that you go to, and then in the corner there should be a green code. You just click on that and then download the source.io zip file. But basically, once you have that file downloaded, you're going to go here to Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, go over here, install from disk, and then you would look for your zip file and then just open it, select it, and then it will appear here as SourceIO. And you want to make sure that you have that checked. But once you have that installed, you are going to go to File, Import, Source Engine Assets, Source Model, and if you go back here too, you can do the same, basically the same process for maps too, which would be Source Map. That would be for maps. But for this case, you're going to go to Source Model, then go to wherever your workshop is located. To make things quicker, you can also, when you go to Workshop, go to Program Files times 86 or whatever yours is. Steam, Steam Apps, Common, Source Filmmaker, Game, Workshop, and if you want to make things quicker, you would just right click on Workshop and then choose the option that says pin to quick access, which would make it quicker for you to find it. So you can see that I have it right here, so you can just click here, then go to Models, and then find. You can also go back to the model here and then look at the name Mango. So Mango, you can see it's right here, press on Mango, Fun Time Foxy, import, and then boom, you have the model in Blender. You have the model in Blender. And you can just go over here, press S to scale, and drag to make it bigger. And then You can see that you can't really see the bones, and you kind of want to see them more effectively, so you can just go right here on the armature, and then go over here to Data, Viewport Display, and then Display As. You want that to be Stick. So now you can see the bones way better. Okay, so now the fun part, the rigging. So what you are going to do is, you can do this like in your own way or whatever. There's probably a few ways to do this, but what I do is I click on the armature, go to edit mode right here, or to switch faster between object mode and edit mode, you can just press tab on your keyboard. And then you just pick one arm side. You can go right here. You want to click on the down part of the upper arm right here, right there, where the orange is. Orange means that it's selected. And then you can select here, drag this to extend it, because you're going to want to extend the bones, because if you don't, then you might have some, you know, rigging issues. And then same thing for the lower arm bone, you're just going to extend that too, and you want to kind of make sure that like it's kind of, you know, centered as best as you can. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then same thing for the hand bone. You're just going to drag that straight out like that. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to go to the upper part right here of the lower arm, press E, left click, and then drag out like that to extend. And then you're going to select that bone, press Alt P on your keyboard, clear parent. And then you're going to drag this bone out a little bit. That will be the elbow IK rig. And then for the hand, you're going to select the top two, and then press E, same thing, extend. And then you're going to select it, press Alt P, clear parent, but this, for this bone, you are not going to extend it. It's going to stay where it is. And then to make things easier, because this is also handy for it to be able to symmetrize, you'll see why. But you want to name these bones properly. And you don't have to really do it for the arm bones, but you can if you want. It makes things easier. But now you're going to, you can do this in either order. You can select your elbow bone in this case, press F2 on your keyboard, and then just simply rename it however you want that can be symmetrized. In this case, I title it elbow. And then you can see that this is the right side. Elbow IK dot right. And then same thing for the hand. Hand IK dot right. We got this side mostly done for the bones. And then now you're going to select the lower arm again. You are going to want to go to pose mode. Then go over here to bone constraints. Add bone constraint. Inverse kinematics. And then once you have that selected, your target's going to be the armature. So you want to type in the name of your character or whatever. So in this case, it would be Funtime Foxy arm, which means arm basically means armature. So you're just like that. And then the bone would be the hand IK.right for that side. And then you can see the pose of the model kind of changed. So you want to go to chain link, put it up to 2. And then for the pull target, you're going to do the armature again. And then you are going to go to the bone. And then this time choose the elbow IK for the same side. And then you can see this is kind of facing a little bit different from this side. You kind of want to adjust the pull angle just a little bit, depending on how it's positioned. So it's kind of facing the same way as the other side. So now that we have this bone covered, let's go over here, select the hand IK, and then boom, you can see that you have this rigged for the most part. However, you can see that the hand is moving with the elbow, and we do not want that. So you can press Ctrl Z to undo the movements, and which doesn't really matter. But now what you're going to do is you are going to go back to edit mode, select the hand bone, and then shift select the hand IK bone, and then press Ctrl P on your keyboard, keep offset. You can just stay in pose mode, select the hand bone, and then you can just move it right here instead of having to switch back and forth in edit mode. And instead of moving this bone to like rotate the hand, you would use this one. Kind of fixes it, sort of. You just want to like adjust it to like, you know, make sure that it's groovy. Never thought I'd use the word groovy in my life, but okay. But yeah, you just want to make sure that it's kind of centered and where you want it. And the nice thing about this too is that it still works for this. So yeah, I'm not sure how really helpful that is, but It's a little easier. To make the process quicker, instead of having to do the grueling process of doing it all over again for the other side, you're going to select the upper arm, the elbow IK, lower arm, hand IK, and hand for the side that you already did. Right click, symmetrize. And then boom, what this does is it basically does the same thing for the other side. And you can test it here too to make sure that it's working properly. And then basically the same thing for the legs. Hip, we're going to drag this down. And then for the knee, we're going to drag this down. And then foot, drag this down too. And then you're going to select the top of the knee, E, extract forward instead of backward. And then Alt P, clear parent, drag forward. And then for the foot, select the top of that, E to extract, and then Alt P, clear parent, keep that in place. And then same thing for the knee, you're going to press F2, rename it knee IK dot right. And then for the foot IK dot right. And then basically for the bones of the leg, you're going to do the same thing. So select the lower leg, inverse kinematics, armature, foot, IK dot right, set chain length to 2, and then font time epoxy armature, select the bone to knee, IK dot right, adjust the pole, and then you can test it here too to make sure that it's working properly. Boom. If you want to make the character walk, for example, you're going to want to do the keep offset for the leg too. Shift, select the foot IK from the foot bone, Control P, keep offset. You can test this too, and then you can see that it is doing that, which is what we want if we are doing a walk cycle or something. And then you would go to edit mode, select the hip, knee IK dot right, foot and foot right, and then symmetrize. And then boom, you can see that we have an SFM model now rigged. It would be kind of the same process for a Sketchfab model. And keep in mind too that some Sketchfab models, they won't have bones, and I'll show you really fast. You can type in sketchfab.com and then type in any model. Let's do Funtime Foxy again. Funtime Foxy wants to be the star of the show for this. And to check to make sure that a model has bones, what you would do is you would basically go scroll down here, more model information, and then where it says rig geometries, you want that to say yes. And then if we download this 3D model, perfect, it's a blend file. You basically want to download whatever the first option is, because that's the best, in my opinion. Go to File Explorer, Downloads, extract this, and then check. You have to unzip it again. And then once you have that, we're gonna hide you, Funtime Foxy, sorry. Well, we kind of need you. Basically, what you want to do is go to File, Append, Downloads, Funtime Foxy, Source, and then Source again, Blend, Object, and select all this. Sometimes it might come with lights that you don't really want. And then, boom, you can see that you have this model down. Oh! In this case, it may already have, yep, it already has rig geometries, so sometimes you won't need to worry about actually, rigging a Sketchfab model, like the SFM one. But the bones will look similar to the one right here. So basically, for a Sketchfab model, if you have to rig it and it has bones that look like these, basically, you wouldn't really need to worry as much. It would basically be the same process for this as we did for this, if that makes sense. But I hope that this tutorial was helpful, and if you enjoyed it, feel free to leave a like and a comment. Don't forget to subscribe for more content from me and hit that bell for notifications to see when I post new videos. And thank you, as always, for the love and support. I am grateful for each and every one of you, and I cannot wait to see what this year brings. I may or may not be working on a full Son animation again for a Son by Neoni, but I'm really excited to share that with you guys. It's been a hot minute since I've done a full Son animation of another artist. I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.